Hi there, Loren Crawford, YogiLoren. In the last recording that I shared with you, I talked a little bit about breath as the bridge. I want to focus more on the breath today. I know that breath is a bit mysterious. Breath is a challenge when we start doing our practice, and sometimes it's not instructed very well. And that's no dissing of yoga teachers out there. People teach what they were taught, right? And if they haven't been taught a lot about the science of the breath, it's a little bit of a mystery even to teachers who've been around for a long time. So the breath is key. The breath is the link between the body and the mind, ultimately. And when I instruct in my physical practices, I really try to have people connect with the breath in such a way that the breath is actually leading you in the postures, right? The breath isn't catching up. If the breath were catching up, you're doing exercise. If the breath is leading you through the journey, then you're actually doing yoga. I know that sounds a little bit finite, but to me, that's the difference, right? So a lot of yoga is really popular out there, but a lot of it is yoga exercise. And so if you get to that point with breath, where the inhalation is awakening the opening into the posture, and the exhalation is taking you into the close of the posture, for example, amazing, right? And that takes time. Working with the breath is much more challenging than a lot of these physical fancy poses. And it does take time to master control over the breath and your capacity with the breath. At some point in your journey, you'll be working with various pranayamas, these specific breath techniques, and you'll be learning various retention capacities. So inhaling and gently retaining, exhaling, and a suspension of the exhalation. Those come in time, and they shouldn't be taught prematurely because you do need your nervous system to be at a certain level of strength through your physical practice and just the working with your breath in the practice before we start getting into a lot of breath retentions and specific pranayamas. But you can start, contrary to what some systems teach, you can start working with pranayama really early in your practice, as in day one. And what that can look like is simple ujjayi through your physical practice, right? That's the little contraction in your throat. Little contraction like fogging up the mirror, your glasses, using that through your physical practice, amazing. And even that at the end of practice, just sitting with your ujjayi breath for 3-4 minutes and then moving into the stillness of meditation, powerful. And then there's a whole bunch of other pranayamas. I'm not going to go into a pranayama tutorial here, but just to say that when we understand the breath and the machinations of the breath, it's amazing. The breath, you should know, is always an exact reflection of the state of the mind. So we can't flick a switch and change the state of the mind, but what we can do is change up the breath. You know the old adage, just stop and take 10 breaths. There's something to that wisdom, right? That wisdom has been shared through generations because there's something there. When we are in an agitated state, one of the things that we can do is slow down the breathing, right? When the mind is dispersed and diffuse and all over the place, if we just close the eyes and take the awareness to the breath, and just even simple breath awareness can get us out of that agitated and diffuse state of mind, right? When the mind is in a funk, heavy and cloudy, we can do some interesting breath, even again that ujjayi breathing that I mentioned, or kapalabhati, to get us out of that state. So the breath reflects the state of the mind, but we can use the breath to change the state of the mind, right? And so if we're doing our practice with nary a concern to how the breath is moving, eventually you will have better breath capacity just from doing yoga. But when you're really instructed in a way to find and establish the rhythm of your breath through the practice, your practice is going to feel like a whole different thing. It takes it to a whole new level. And your capacity to deal with the breath is dealing with your subtle body as well. So I'm going to end on that note. So breath is really the vehicle for life force, prana we call it in yoga. And one of the things that we want to be doing here is cultivating our pranic body, cultivating that prana to awaken our pranic body, this subtle areas of animation within us. And within those areas of animation, there's deep, rich healing that needs to happen, right? a practice that's steeped in good breathing practices, in pranayama, in meditation, will ultimately move you to a place of greater integration on a whole host of levels, and ultimately to a deeper subtle level, for sure, for sure. So breath and the mind, the breath is key, the breath is the link, and the breath is ultimately the vehicle to your higher self. And this is the work of practice. And remember, practice in yoga is something that we want to commit to in a sense of a long-term commitment. Yoga is not a quick fix solution regime, right? It's about doing the work with diligence, doing the work with love and compassion, doing the work with self-awareness. And over time, you master your breath, and ultimately you're going to begin to master your mind. So those are my thoughts on breath. Be well, take care. If you want more information, drop me a note, and be sure to register below for my website, for upcoming videos, and any questions you might have. Take care.